My name is Trevor Hendrickson. I'm a software developer by day and a cosplayer by night. So I cosplay as a Mandalorian from the Star Wars universe. And if you're not familiar with Mandalorians, they're bounty hunters. I probably take it a lot more seriously than I should. But I mean, you get into cosplay because it's fun. And as long as you're having a good time, then that's what makes it worthwhile. I think, some people can maybe get carried away with it. I wouldn't go to work in my cosplay. I don't want to have fun all the time. But don't take it too seriously. With how dedicated I am to cosplay, it's hard to find time for other hobbies. But within cosplay, there are so many elements to it that you could look at it as though I have a bunch of little hobbies in my suit. For example, I am rewiring all the lights, the jetpack, and the smoke into my gauntlet, which has buttons so I can control whether the smoke in my jetpack comes on or whether I can change the color of the lights on my suit. I can turn my visor light on and off. And when I first started that, I know enough about wiring like a light and a switch. I thought, you just buy an Arduino and you plug some wires into it and some lights and a button and you make stuff blink. And it turns out it's a little bit more complicated than that. I had to hire an electrical engineer, and it's complicated. It's complicated, but I'm learning a ton about creating how to read an electrical schematic and how to program an Arduino and how to solder, what kind of lights to use and voltage, and what kind of batteries do you use to power it all so you're not blowing up or starting on fire. And I learned how to use auto paint and paint, because the first round of my armor, I set up a paint booth in our garage and had a sprayer and bought auto paint, and I had to research that so I could learn how to do that. So there are a lot of things within cosplay that I would consider hobbies, or at least my knowledge of them has grown. I'm probably unique in how much money I've spent on my cosplay, but we don't really talk about it at home. My wife would probably, divorce me, and hopefully she's not going to be watching this. But you could say that you could buy a pretty nice used car for what I put into my costume. I'm motivated by creating a character and constantly evolving my costume to fit these video Instagram episodes that we're creating about my character. So the evolution of the costume isn't just about, I've got this great costume and I'm going to add these lights to it or a different jetpack or whatever. It is incorporating that stuff into an actual story. And I love being a storyteller. And being a storyteller, I want it to be as good as possible. And that, I think, is probably my biggest motivation. There's so many people out there that are embarrassed that they cosplay. But when you go to a Comic-Con convention, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you've dressed as or how good your costume is. they just respect the fact that you're expressing yourself and doing something that you like, and that's the most important thing. And I love the community because of that.